Hey everyone, welcome to this build video. I'm going to show you is how you can take your transcripts, ideas, white papers, or podcast episodes and repurpose them into hundreds of content pieces. Literally, you can copy Alex Hormoz's theme up to a certain extent with this and publish 100, 200 content pieces a week. That's what we are doing on various platforms such as YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, scripts for short videos, a newsletter that is fully on brand and for your voice, and also cut your podcast episodes or cut your team meetings or cut your long form videos into fully edited shorts, essentially with captions, b-rolls, and all of that stuff. That is a content system that takes all your content and helps you create a lot more variations to help you break through the noise on social media and actually build a brand that lasts, or build your authority on various platforms, get more leads, get more sales, or simply build a media empire, build media presence on various platforms, actually hit that omnipresence like Alex Hormozy does and a lot of the bigger gurus do, without having to spend the resources that they are spending on different editors and marketers and research and this and that. Now, here's the plan to make this really easy for you. First, I'm going to give you a quick demo of how this works. Then I'm going to build out everything step by step. We're going to start with the Airtable. I'm going to show you how to build a base like this one so you can organize all your content, ideas, all by content types, etc., etc. I'm going to show you how to build the base of this Airtable and backend things that you'll need to set in place. We're going to start everything from scratch. The automations that are needed for this content OS, and finally, how to build an interface so it can be usable either by yourself or whoever is going to use the system, so it actually looks good and it's a lot more convenient to use in the first place. If you'd like to get the full system alongside a scheduling app included, make sure to click the link below and join our community media lab. When you join, you get access to this system as well as all the other media automation apps that we build for growing our media company across platforms and really creating a thriving media ecosystem. All right, now let's go through a little demonstration and explain how these AI automations work. I'm going to explain the workflow in n8n, walk you through the process, and then we're going to get into building the actual automation. This is the automation that I'm going to help you build. This automation is actually connected to a Airtable database that will look like this and that we're going to build together. So how all of this works is over here, you can input your idea. You're going to input your idea here. You can put the raw video URL, and all you need to do is select the action that you want to take. So if you want to create tweets, create threads, or if you simply want to crop the video and create clips, when you select one of these actions, what will happen is it will trigger this automation over here, and it will take a specific path, whether that be to generate you tweets and threads, whether that be to create you a YouTube description and YouTube titles that are based on research on what is actually going on right now in the market, in your niche, in your audience, and also to meet your audience exactly where they're at based on their psychographic data. Then you have LinkedIn over here, and you can finally create social graphics as well as fully clip videos with this automation here. So you input a podcast episode, it will clip your videos, add captions, add b-rolls, and in the end, you will have content that you can put out on socials to get followers, to get subscribers, and to eventually get that traffic and direct it to your main video, to your long form videos as well. So it's really an excellent way to drive traffic. And you might have seen this strategy used by all the gurus such as Alex Hormozy and Gary Vee. Now, what this replaces is a lot of the aspects where you will eventually need a team for. You can get started with this. So once the automation is active, like this is the back end of the system that I will help you build. Over here, you can see all the different content types that will be created. So you'll have the tweets, everything will be stored in a Google Doc, and everything will also be organized in a Google folder, so you can easily track everything and you can follow everything as well. Uh, but you can also access all your content through this system. For example, you have the videos here.
Super based, I believe, in iOS developers. Yeah, like what?
They're with B-rolls. You can track the status of the posts, see what needs review, see what is ready and needs to be scheduled. And you can schedule everything straight from the system. And finally, as I said, I'm going to help you build this dashboard. So eventually you have a system that is very like this is not only easy to use but actually looks nice. So this is the dashboard that we will build in this video. You can follow my steps and just gonna show you the dashboard of the full system. You can follow my exact steps and also fully build the dashboard as in our content system that you get when you join Media Lab. That covers everything from content ideation to content production. So you can see here how you can make the dashboard, track all the content, track all the clips, see what is ready, see what is not ready, or what will need editing. You can leave comments over here, especially if you have a team. This is useful because you can go back and forth and edit the clips, edit your content as well. So everything is in one place. That is the final thing. That is how it works. So this automation takes care of the backend. Then you have Airtable. We're going to use Airtable for the front end. And that's it. Let's get started. The accounts that you will need for this are, first of all, you have to have a Google G Suite account. Will a free account do? No, you have to get the G Suite version. It's like $6 a month. An OpenAI API, so you'll need to connect your OpenAI API. ChatGPT will not do. So a subscription to ChatGPT is separate. You will need to go to platform.openai.api keys, sign up with your account. That is this link over here. You will need to create your key. You need a subscription to n8n. The basic subscription will do for this one. If you like more speed, if you have a lot of content, you can get the 60 bucks a month subscription as well. You need an Airtable. A free version will do for the build. I would still suggest you go for the 24 bucks a month version or whichever version is the entry version, so you can actually make the most out of the system. If you would like to clip your videos and create shorts for social media, you will need to get Vizard.ai, 39 bucks a month. And that's all you need. So literally with this, I'm going to show you how you can replace an entire content team and not pay agencies 5K a month for the amount of content that you're going to get here, as well as the quality of content that you're going to get. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a completely new base, and in the blank base, we're basically going to add all the different fields, all the different data, and everything that is over there. There are a few that we're gonna add over here. So the first one being an auto ID. What this is gonna do is it's literally going to organize your content by numbers. We're gonna have the content ID, and it's gonna be essentially based on a formula field. So go formula field. You can copy paste this exact formula. Just follow me along. Afterwards, we are going to add a record ID. So some of these, like a lot of these, you're not going to necessarily see in the final interface, but they're going to be used in the automations and they're very useful for organizing the content. We're adding long text description. And also, just so you know, like right now, as I'm showing you this, when you join Media Labs, our community, and get the Content OS, you essentially get all the table, all the automations, the interface, everything built for you, so you can just install it. Super easy installation. Putting the text URL here, so we can also link the text, so eventually can be saved in a Google Doc in your folders as a doc ID. So what it's going to do is, if you have the link here to your folder, this is going to do is just going to extract the ID of the document, because some of the automations that we're going to use require the ID to be in this format, because you cannot necessarily use the link directly. And we are going to add the fields for an image, attachment, a video, and you can also add like slide 1, 2, 3, as we have in the system right now for the sake of clarity and for the sake of being concise. In this video, I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to do the image and the video. But in the full system, there's also like you can create carousels, so you can also add like slide 1, 2, 3, 4, as long as you want, as many as you want, essentially. We're going to add a publish date here, so you can track when a particular content is published. A status field. Status, what we're going to do here is we're going to put queued. I'm going to explain in a second when we're going to build the automations what queued actually is. Going to add in progress. I'll pick that. More. There we go. It's super important, even as you're building this, like keep everything color coded. It helps a lot to make things look nice, and it makes things a lot more intuitive as well. At least something that I've been obsessing over for quite some time, because making something look nice it's actually worth it, since you're building it once for your business anyways, or installing it once. I'm going to put the text document here. So what we're going to do is add a button as well, and I'm going to explain in a second what all of this is going to be used for, but first I'm going to just create all the fields, as I said. So we have the button here. Let me just edit that a bit. Button, I'm gonna put there we go, an emoji. Awesome. The folder URL here, folder URL, add another button for a folder. It's gonna copy paste the formula here. So what it's gonna do is literally is going to link this button to the folder URL. So you don't have to just have a bunch of links. It can look a bit nicer with the emoji, and you have a button to access the files directly in here. This is an interesting field that I learned from another guy, and since implementing this, actually, you will see how much better the automations will work. It's called initialize. Feel free to just copy paste this exact formula in here. It's essentially make sure that there's going to be a text document and a folder of each file, so it keeps the cleanliness of the system as well. We're going to add created date, created, create that, and we are going to put last modified time. Last modified. This is mostly for tracking, and it helps for certain automations. We're going to put an action field eventually, but first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop over here right now. I'm going to name this table content. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another table called actions, where we're going to add all the different actions that are going to be the webhooks, essentially, and the automations that are going to trigger whatever you're doing over here. Here we're adding some text, action name. Again, we're going to add an auto number, so auto ID. One thing I would suggest, especially if you're building this and you're not in our community, use the exact names I'm using, so you won't have any problems when launching the system. Just use it exactly as I'm writing it down, since there's going to be some automations that are going to link to these particular columns. So there's no errors. You don't actually face any errors. Gonna add some notes. What we're gonna do here is also, now we're gonna add a linked record, and we're gonna link it to content page. And what we're gonna do here is also we're gonna choose, like, just leave this as is. Just name it content, create field. There we go. And next, what I'm gonna add over here is a long text webhook URL. So what are we gonna do over here is literally we're going to paste the different URLs that are going to be used for the content automation. And finally, I'm going to put 2 checkboxes. So one is active. So the automations that are active, they're going to be selected. And the other one is essentially checkbox system. There we go. I'm going to explain in a bit what these actually mean. So we go all data and fields here. So when you linked it, you're going to see here the linked section as well. As you can see, like, so there's the actions tab. Right now, what we're going to do in the action, just going to rename it actually to action. And we're going to limit record to selection to a view. Oh, wait, let me change that up. So we're going to go back to actions a bit. All data and fields, I'm just going to duplicate this and essentially put active. You see how I actually have it? So user actions, I'm going to put user actions. So these are the actions that can be used by the user. I'm going to duplicate it again and put system actions. These are the background actions that will enable everything to work well. So for user actions, we're going to add a filter. And that filter is essentially going to be that active is this. And I'm going to explain this in a second. Does not contain initialize content. So I forgot one thing to update over here. The last thing is I'm just going to turn this field, the first one, into action name. It's already taken. I'm going to move a formula and just paste this formula. Just paste this exact formula in there, save that, firm changes. What this is going to do is, let's say we add an action here and put the initialize content. This is a system action, so I'm going to select system over here. And over here, I'm going to put create tweets. So I'm going to put, so this is a user action. These are all active. So as you see, like in user actions, because of the filter, does not contain initialize content. And for the system actions, I'm actually just gonna add, there we go. We have filter system is thick there. So gonna go back to the content tab over here in action, all data and fields, we go user actions, save. And what this will allow you to do is you can select the user action. So you can pretty much add anything over here. It can be create tweets, it can be create an image, create LinkedIn posts, whatever. I'm going to show you how to connect it when we move on to the automations part. But this is for the time being on this side. So let's go and continue building this table. Action D. Just going to leave this as is. Just follow me. I'm not going to explain every field and what it does. I'm going to add these things, just add them as this. And over here, put webhook URL. I'm going to put up here like a publish URL so you can track where everything is published. And for the sake of organization, what I'm going to do, and you're going to see a massive use of this when we're building the automations, I'm just going to put package ID. And I'm also going to add one more field for organization that is media type. This will essentially show like this. You can, like the media type will allow you to organize everything essentially by field. So you have like media type, YouTube descriptions, titles. That's what this field is going to be for. All right, let's go back and let's continue. These are the initial the initial columns that we need for now. We're going to add some additional columns later as we build the automations and similar, or as we add the clipping of the videos in there as well. And I'm only going to create one additional table here called variables, which is literally going to contain the variables that will be needed for different automations so you can customize the system as well. I'm not going to go into full customization here. When you join the community and the system you get over there, you get different customization in terms of you can customize your brand voice, you can customize a lot of other things actually, like the clipping templates and things like that. In the variables tab, what I'm going to add over here is the name, and I'm just going to add a field for a value. Just gonna organize this like this. Group by group, add variables for the branding. Go. And what do I mean by variables for the branding? So brand voice, target audience, psychographics. I'm going to show in a different video how to actually create these using AI. Because it actually, I would say, like from what we noticed, it's best to have everything structured in a format like this. So these are our psychographics for the AI to give out the best possible response. We're gonna add some brand colors. I'm gonna copy paste these things. And for this video, I'm just gonna put the exact same ones that we're using in the full automation. There we go. So how the system, I'm going to show you how to build this system in the sense that you don't necessarily have to use templates for the AI to mimic after, but how to prompt the OpenAI modules in a way that it creates sort of like these guidelines for the AI to always give a consistent output regardless of whatever is going on out there. I kind of call it like guidelines methodology or whatever, where you literally put different limitations to the AI, and then you give it enough room for it to create within that. And the LinkedIn posts, the tweets, and everything is so much better compared to just using templates. I'm gonna add another group over here, which is going to be system. So in system, one thing that I also learned from my mentor is I'm gonna add one variable that's called production. You're gonna notice when building the n8n automations that you have two different webhooks, and they can either be a test webhook or a production webhook. This field will allow us to switch quite fast from one to the other without having to change all the links and everything. So it's really a lot more production ready. You can put false here or just leave it empty for the time being, especially for testing. And as you're building this, it's worth to leave it like this. I'm going to add the Google folder root ID. I'm going to show you in a second how to add that. That's it pretty much for this system. Like in the system that you get in Media Lab, there's a bunch of other things you can customize, but for the foundational level, that's it. So what I'm going to go next is literally go to my Google Drive over here. I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm just going to call it content or YouTube version. I'm gonna name it like this. I'm really like, I would suggest even you use some kind of a naming convention, either with brackets like this, or there's another one that you can use your company name and do something like this. It's a lot easier to search, or you can use SOP or whatever. It's a lot easier to search and organize your Drive folder, especially if you have a lot of files. And with something like this, most likely you do have a lot of files. So I'm just gonna do this. Next one, I'm gonna copy these folders. So I'm gonna add a content folder, and I would suggest you add one folder that's essentially personalization. So personalization folder is where you're going to keep all your different files for customizing the system, as I said. So the target audience, psychographics, the brand voice, etc., etc. You can add a logo as well, so the AI can directly add the logo to images, so they're fully branded. And that's why we're using brand colors as well. So these are our brand colors. You will edit this with your own, but the brand colors are essentially used as guidelines for the AI to give a consistent output that's on brand. So you actually have content that's useful and that can be used immediately without much editing, preferably without any editing whatsoever. All right. Next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. I'll show you this because the screen, the Google folder root ID in the value. So what is the Google folder root ID is this last part. So this numbers over here. I would suggest you copy it from the content folder that we just created inside, and you just put it here. Make sure, I would suggest that the folder is accessible. I'm gonna show you in a second how to connect your Drive to Airtable and to n8n as well. So all of this can actually work. But so just put that over here. And For this video, what I'm going to show you is some of the actions that we're going to put in. We're going to add create tweets, create scripts, create thread, so Twitter threads, add create LinkedIn post. So this is one type of LinkedIn post. I'm going to build another system actually that's in the pipeline for specifically for growing on LinkedIn. But for this repurposing flow that we have over here, I'm going to keep it as is. So I can show you over here. The other one we're gonna add is create an image. Well, let's do it like a graphic image. I don't like too much the AI generated random images. Let me show you over here. So what I mean by graphics is graphics such as this one. So there's graphics, on-brand graphics, or you can also add carousels, which we're not going to do in this video, but you can add carousels as well that look professional, that actually stand out in the feed. You can add frameworks and templates, especially these are useful for LinkedIn as they can be carousels and they can be looking pretty cool. But yeah, so for this system, we're going to add just one social graphic. We're not going to look into carousels. And I'm going to add one for cropping video over here. And one of my favorite, especially if you're a YouTuber, I would say I'm going to add one for YouTube. I'm going to show you how to create this automation. So when you want to post on YouTube, this automation will essentially create your description, will do the research, put on titles in there, put on suggestions, everything that is for YouTube. The full system that you get inside the community also has all of this supercharged. So right now we're gonna put the version that will get the job done, not the fully optimized version. You can go ahead and watch this video and optimize it yourself. When you join Media Lab, you get the full optimized version that has a bunch of content types, and it essentially has a feature where you just put your content, click a button, and just repurposes everything for you and creates 150 pieces, different pieces of content. It's essentially Alex Hormozzi's theme in an automation. What I also found super helpful is having on one side automations like clone content in case you want to just edit two different pieces of content, and rewrite content in case something is not that good. Just want to rewrite it. It goes straight over there. The other one that I wanted to mention that we're not going to get into this right now is adding a system action that takes a transcript, splits it up, and creates different ideas from different angles. As I said, I'm not going to touch on that too much right now as it will take quite some time. That is part of the full system. So what it does is it takes like a 50-minute transcript or just a voice note and an idea, and it repurposes it into different content angles based on your target audience to create content after. But that, I'm just telling you this, if you're building from the video, it's something to consider to break apart the transcript in various ways. I'm going to organize these a bit before we get into the automations. So we're going to add a section here in progress, add another section that is separated by media type, publishing section. This is all helpful, like even if you just use this as your main dashboard and you don't decide to build the interface, this is super useful to just have everything organized in one place. So it makes sense for whatever you're doing. And then I'm going to add another section that is essentially the automation. You're not going to touch much here in the automations aspect, but this is useful for the different things that we're going to use, which is where I'm also going to start, honestly. So I'm going to add a grid. We're going to add a bunch of different types over here that are going to trigger different automations, and we're going to filter for each one dependingly on what is needed. We're going to create a new grid, run action, just drag it into an automation, and we can add, there we go, run action, initialize. So for the initialize, what I'm going to put is going to filter like this, where description is not empty and folder URL is not empty. Folder URL is empty, pardon me. And status is queued. You're going to see why this is done the way it is done. when we start building the automations. But for now, just follow along and do it as this. And here we're gonna do where action is not empty. That's it on this side. Next one, we are going to add a bunch of different fields for gonna add ideas list here. So you can track all your ideas in one place. I like separating the general ideas and like the curated ideas simply for clarity. So these are ideas that pretty much all the ideas that are going to be here. What I like doing there is hiding a bunch of these fields. Just leave the description essentially. So title, hide, text URL. I'm going to hide pretty much everything here. There we go. I'm just going to add the status back. Status, put it there. And one field I forgot is I'm going to add a raw video URL. So you can add the raw video here as well, like the link to a Google Drive and stuff, so it can get the clipping done as well. There's going to be a few other fields that we'll need to add eventually, so you can use this, but we're going to do that later. Just for the sake of speed, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this, duplicate this view, and add another one, another text project name. This is useful for organizing inside everything. And I'm going to put that action back as well. There we go. So over here, you're going to be able to choose the different actions. As you see, like there's no initialize here, right? And how we're going to filter is we're going to go on the first one and we're going to create a filter where initialized is equal to 0 and status is empty. In curated ideas, on the other hand, we're going to use filters such as initialize equals 1, status is queued. There we go. I'm just going to create one more over here. So I'm going to duplicate this and just unhide some of this. So I'm going to unhide the buttons, these two, text document and folder, duplicate this, go to do, and in to do, we are going to add a filter where you can leave initialized as is, just I would put status is not queued, not proved, and also where status is not empty. Eventually, you're going to see this getting populated. You're going to have all your content over here, which you can also filter by media type. That's why we added the field of media types, regardless if it's for YouTube or you have it for Twitter or you have it for LinkedIn. You can filter depending on each media type. So you have different views for each of the different content types. And from here, I'm just going to skip the media type thing because you can go ahead and do that yourself. And I'm just going to add a ready tab, which essentially is going to be filtered by status is approved. Actually, I will go with status needs review. So this is going to be the tab where you can just review everything. Actually, let me organize that a bit better. So you're going to have ready tab, add one for needs review. I would very much suggest you use emojis as they make everything just so much cleaner, more visual. And honestly, you're just building this once. You don't have to do it over and over again. Status is needs review. Status is ready. I'm going to duplicate this. And finally, I'm just going to add another one here that is published. Check that. There we go. I'm going to add here publish date is not empty. Publish URL is not empty. One cool thing that I discovered is also you can put this like this, make an or and actually. There we go. That is essentially for the Airtable builds. And now we are gradually going to move into the building of the automations as well. So I hope you enjoyed that so far. Let's continue with the automations. The Airtable automations, we're going to do them first. So we're finished essentially with Airtable and we can move on to the n8n automations. First automation we're going to hit is when
record enters a view. Yes, change the trigger, content. So you select the table here. We're mostly going to work in the content one. And put initialize. This is why it was important to add those fields in the backend. And I'm going to put here find records content based on a condition. I mean, it's really useful sometimes to have two different tabs open. So one for automations and one for data, so you can check back and forth. Based on a condition, I'm going to add a condition over here where the auto ID is equal to 1, which is essentially initialize content. And I'm going to add an update record. It's going to run this here one side. So we'll have to go back. Just going to create random test idea. So you see here, you can paste the video URL here, but when you press queued, this is going to disappear from here. It's going to go into the initialize tab. Here it is. We go back to the automations. It's going to press, okay, choose record. I'm going to select the record, run this. There it goes. And finally, we're going to update the record as well. So use there for record ID. I'm going to put Airtable record ID. And for action, gonna put initialize. Oh, actually, here we go. We're gonna put find records, Airtable record ID. That is going to essentially activate the automation. Okay, one mistake I made here. Actually, we should pick the actions tab. Put a condition where auto ID is 1. So you have to select the actions tab here. Generate preview, run tests. There we go. So it will update the action, as you can see, into initialize content. This will be all automatic in the background. I'm gonna name this here initialize content. Turn that on. And other one that we are going to do for now is run action. So create new automation. Again, when a record enters view, content, run action. Over here, we put run a script. I'm just gonna select an action here. You see, like I'm just gonna go here, select a random action, just so it can show up over here, so we can set up the automations. Gonna put run action here, choose record. There we go. So we're gonna put a script here. All of this, as I said, is fully set up in the community, but I'm gonna show you the code here as well. Action will run always. Go here, edit code, copy paste this entire code. What it does in a nutshell is what I was telling you earlier as well. Also with the production, it makes the system super easy and super customizable. So you can customize it quite fast with what I was saying with its production is true or false. So it cleans up the actions so it can trigger the actual webhook. So just pause the video here. You can copy paste this code and you can continue. What we're going to do though, that's not fully done here. We're going to add here a variable with the name of record ID, and it's going to have this one. Then we're going to add another variable with an auto ID name, and that one is going to set value. So let me just show you so you can edit that like this. Just search value. You can see the value is different than 1. Just select that one. And we're going to add another variable, which is webhook URL. The webhook URL is, again, going to be based on value from action. I'm going to go back to actions, user action. It's going to add a webhook URL like random, so we can select it. Go back to the other tab, run this again, run automation. It should cause an error. Over here, we're going to put value, webhook URL. Here you go. So eventually this webhook URL will have a different value. I'm just showing you this for testing and for setup. Afterwards, we are adding a update record, and I'm going to put like content. Airtable record ID is this one, the first one. So it's the same from the record that enters the view. And also I will add action and just leave it empty, because this will update the action field. It will make it empty. So you can run another action as well. And activate this. We're going to go back to this later. But for now, we're essentially done with the Airtable. And let's move to creating the automations right now inside of n8n. You're going to open n8n. You're going to create workflow, create a new workflow. I already did that over here. And just open that up. So you start from scratch. What you're going to add here as a trigger is a webhook. Sorry, my bad. So there's different types of webhooks. Make sure that you select this one. So as I was saying earlier, there's like a test URL and a production URL. This is where the difference inside of the system happens. And this is where you will need to make sure. So add webhook, select post. So HTTP method is post, and path. You can customize this. I'm just going to put test YouTube webhook. We're going to leave the rest as is. And what I'm going to do here is take this webhook. So I'm going to make sure you copy the test URL. So I'm going to copy the test URL. I'm going to go back to the Airtable that we created. And inside of actions, I'm going to paste this here. So I'm going to copy it for all of them. So you can have different webhooks, but for this video, we're just going to use this one. Make sure that, so this webhook is your own unique webhook that you're going to use. Next one, what you are going to do is we're going to add an Airtable module. So I get a record. Right now I have disconnected. You're going to have to connect your Airtable with an access token to be able to use it inside of n8n. There's plenty of tutorials on how to do that. Over here, you're going to select base from list. You're going to select content OS. So this one, content OS YouTube. And table, I'm going to select content. As for record ID, we're going to do the following. So I'm going to test the webhook. Sorry, I'm going to put something whatever for now so we can test the webhook. I'm going to test the webhook. I'm going to go back to the Airtable. There's one in initialize. So first we're going to create the initialize content automation. I'm going to run this one more time. Run automation. And you will see that this will trigger this webhook. It will send the information. As you can see it over here, here are the variables as well. And in get a webhook in record ID, what we're going to look for is this one, record ID, and just drag and drop it. Make sure it's in expression mode. Let's see if that works. So that will take the content. Here's like, it's the first content. You see like ID1, C1. And I'm going to add a switch module. I think this is very underutilized. So the switch module, what it essentially does is it allows you to go in different paths inside of the same automation. So you can essentially run an entire application from one automation or multiple automations. The system that you get inside of Media Lab is built on multiple automations. This video, we're going to do everything in one automation, as it doesn't have all the features. But over here, we are going to copy paste this, or you can find it in here as well. What is the action of here you go. So it's going to be this. I'm going to paste that, and the number it is equal to. So we're going to go here. Number is equal to, in this case, just going to go get this back to fixed. It's 1, because we're doing the initialize content automation first. And you can edit the output name. I'm just going to put initialize content, which in essence is going to create a project name, and it's going to make sure that there is a folder and a document created for that particular output. We're going to have the different outputs in here as well, which I'm going to add in a bit. And next, what I like doing, especially if you're repurposing from transcripts, add an OpenAI module. This is a module, this one. And this will generate record title. So everything can be well organized. I'm going to put that one over there. I'm going to put this by ID. I'm just going to put GPT-5 mini. It really does the job. The prompt I'm going to use is the following. So you can either use fixed or expression. I like using expression just because you can expand it like this. It's essentially you're a smart file naming assistant. Your job is to create clear, short, and descriptive titles for file descriptions. These titles, blah, blah, blah. You can pause the video, copy this exact prompt, and paste it over here. Put the role as system, and we're going to add another prompt here, which is the actual action prompt. Over here, generate a clean and descriptive folder name for the following file description. So right now, the file that we just sent does not have a description. We need to connect it. That's why it's not showing up. I'm gonna go here in the Airtable module. I'm just gonna rename this table. There we go. So this is the name of the module it goes after. Description, you can see here, random test idea, execute step. It's probably gonna output something that's not the best right now. Let me show you with, so here you go, random test ideas. That's just the name of the content. Next, we're going to create a Google folder. For using the Drive module, it's really important that, so you have to have it connected in here as well. And what we're going to use is inside of this, we're just going to paste from the variables Google folder root ID. So it will create another folder inside of the content folder. So you can track everything, all your content essentially from one place. Create my drive. The folder name on the other side, just to have everything organized, what I like putting in so is this random content ideas. And you can also put the core file. So I'll put the content ID. So random test. This is how the Google folder will look like. Execute this step. If we go into Drive, here's the Drive folder. You will see that it created the folder. Let's go back to n8n. Next, I'm going to add a docs. So Google Docs, create the document. I have this connected as well. You'll need to connect it. But the folder name or ID, what we're going to use here is just drag this, put it in here. So it's going to create another folder. There we go. That's the folder ID. And for a title, I'm going to add the output of this module and just put like raw file, or you can put raw idea. Then we're gonna add another one that is update the document. Again, this needs to be connected. Gonna drag and drop the ID from the document we just created. And over here, we are going to put the description from the Airtable. In this case, it's random test idea. Execute step. There we go. If we go back this, that's the other one. If we go back here, you can see that it created the folder. It created the file as well, and it inserted the text inside of the file. So you have the raw ideas well structured as well. Next thing is to also make sure that you update once this is done inside of Airtable. So we're going to add another Airtable module, update record module. Again, we're going to select the base, content OS, put YouTube here, content. It's going to load everything. I would say remove the columns first. And then we are going to, for this one, for the first one, go to the Airtable, drag and drop the ID, go. Then we're going to add the text URL. I'm going to show you in a second how that looks and why we added some of those things inside of Airtable. We're going to add the title. We are then going to add the folder URL, project name, and media type. So what I actually love about using media type is to really further organize all your files inside of Airtable. This can be fixed as well. It's just a name. I like putting like the ideas as like core file so I can easily search them afterward. In the title section, I put the content, and also for project name, for the sake of this video, we are going to use the same one so you can see it. Folder URL, it's going to be a bit different. So first of all, we're gonna put this like this because you have to put the whole link, but it doesn't output it. Folder URL, and then you're gonna just drag the ID here. You can see the result. It's the full one. And for text URL, we're going to paste this and then add the ID of the document. There we go. Execute step. That in turn will update the file inside of Airtable. So you can see that it's not in initialize anymore. It's not in ideas as well. It's in curated ideas. So you can see it over here. And over here you have the buttons where if you click, you have direct access to the document. And if you click on the folder one, you can see the folder where this is saved. So the folder is very useful because you can just create all your content over here and just have everything in one place as well on top of the system, which is super useful for organization and for tracking whatever you're doing. And that is the first automation to build the rest of the system. Next up, what I'm going to show you is we are going to build the other automations. So inside of n8n, again, we're going to press this execute workflow. I'm going to go back here into curated ideas and I'm going to select. So let's create an automation that creates tweets. Just going to run that. It will run this action and it will essentially trigger the automation here. There you go, the webhook. I'll go manually through this. And over here, we're going to add another one, which is equal to generate tweets. Go execute step. So that should go there. Next up, we're going to use this module, which will get a document. So docs, get a document, connect that up version here. So because it is initialized, now you're just going to put the text URL here. Execute the step. Okay, I did. Okay, there's an error on that side. It's something wrong. Okay, so we actually should put the doc ID. Here you go, not the full URL. You're going to see it's really worth it to go step by step as you're building these automations because you might be getting some of these errors and similar. So here it goes, like it pulled the content. Here's the document ID. Now, there's two different ways you can go around here. Like I've tried both of them plus some more. On one side, you might see like a lot of people using AI agents. They can be pretty useful. Although when it comes to creating content, I would actually suggest that you either use a module that is like this one, so message model, or you use the chain, so basic LLM chain. I just noticed the content being a lot better than otherwise. And over here, you just need to connect. I'm going to use OpenAI. Just find GPT-5 mini. There we go. And what we're going to do is I'm also going to, so we'll need to configure this a bit. We're going to go define below expression. I'm just going to paste the prompt that I'm using here for Twitter. You're going to see how the prompt looks like. I'm going to link below what I use to make prompts like this in my automations. It just, if you structure the prompt like this, like a JSON format, so a JavaScript format, the AI just performs a lot better compared to just putting a prompt that is text only like this one. Although in this case, like where we have the generate titles, it's completely fine because it's a very basic task. But for a bit more complex tasks, especially when it comes to creating content, I would suggest you create all your prompts. So you can write them in text and then simply put the prompts into this AI agent that literally will turn whatever you're typing into a JSON prompt that will look like this. The AI understands this a lot better. For this video, we're just going to use an input of the document over here, like json.content. That is the document. So here you can see it. The content guidelines is going to go slowly by this prompt. You can pause the video, just copy paste it if you'd like for Twitter. This is a pretty good prompt. We've had quite some good responses from this one. And next thing we need to configure is requires specific output format. So this really makes your automation so much better. And I'm not going to explain in too much detail how this works in this video, but you're going to add a structured output parser over here. And then I'm just going to paste this, which you can copy paste for now. We're just going to run this. So using LLM chains is a bit slower, although I noticed that the outputs are much, much better compared to just using a normal module like this one. So that will output some tweets. Now these are very random, simply because the input is super random. It's like random test idea. So we can do that. Next thing we're going to do, and what I noticed for the best outputs as well, is simply adding over here. Now we are going to get a document. So we're going to pull two more documents from Google Docs. One is get brand voice. The other one is going to be get target audience. Over here, we are going to go to the webhook where we're going to pull essentially brand voice. Here we go. Just execute this step. That will pull this document. And target audience, where it's going to drag drop this here, target audience. There we go. Just execute that as well. And what we're going to do next, so this module wrote already the tweets. This, what I'm going to show you now, you can also just use this module if you don't want to. You can put the brand voice beforehand and just update it in Airtable. What I'm showing you right now will allow you to, for your content to look so much better and actually be on brand. So we're going to get the brand voice, we're going to get the target audience, and then what we're going to do is add an AI agent whose purpose is essentially to take the content from this module, read the brand voice, read the target audience, and adapt it. So it's actually your voice, it's actually your brand, and it's as if you are literally making the content out there. We're also going to require specific output format here. I'm going to paste the prompt that I'm using for the other system. I'm just going to update these things here. Feel free to pause the video here so you can copy the prompt. Tweets batch. I'm going to put here, 1 second, so we don't get the output tweets. So we drag this here, the tweets. This will show up like this. Brand voice and target audience. So target audience, we're going to drag the content, put it here. And brand voice, we're going to drag the content as well and put it here. You can check. I'm just going to slowly go down here so you can copy paste this prompt. Then we're going to add an OpenAI chat module. Also going to use GPT-5 mini. There we go. That's one thing. And again, we're going to add an output parser, which is pretty much the same as the one before. Space this. There we go. Then what this will output, let's run it so you can check it out. It's going to optimize the content on the brand voice and the target audience. And essentially what it does is it meets the target audience where they're currently at. So the content actually stops them in their scroll, and it makes sense for them to read whatever you're posting. In this case, it's tweets. This process, you can use it for threads, you can use it for LinkedIn posts, etc., etc. We use it for newsletters as well with some modifications, of course. But essentially, that is the logic behind everything. So you will see the output here, but still the output is, if you see it, it's multiple tweets. So we have like 5 different tweets that are generated. And that is why next out, we're going to add a split out module, which in essence, what it's going to do is we're just going to drag this, execute step. Okay, my bad there. It's going to put fixed output dot tweets. There we go. It's going to output it as different files. So you can see like from 1 item, it goes into 5 items here. Once it goes into 5 items, we are going to add the rest. So we're going to add create Airtable. So create a record from list, content OS, select this, select content. Gonna pull all the fields. No need to actually do anything there. Just remove all, make sure to remove all the values. We're gonna update it later. Execute step. This is gonna create 5 different Airtable records. So it's not everything is gonna be in one. It's essentially, I'm gonna show you in a second how it will look like. And then before updating the final update, we're gonna add a document, so Google Docs. We're gonna create the document first. Folder name or ID. We are going to go to this first Airtable record, find the folder URL, but this is really important actually, otherwise it's not going to work. Instead of just dragging and dropping it, you need to paste it a bit differently. You need to format it a bit. So where was it? Folder URL. So instead of just pasting it like this as the URL, you'll need to paste it like this. Just a small change. So the second one here. What it's going to do is going to split, and it's only going to put the ID of the folder inside of Airtable, inside of the Google Doc, so it can read the table properly. Title, what I'm going to do is, I also love using emojis there as well. Everything a bit colorful. And we are going to add from this initial Airtable record the title. Here we go. Execute step. This is going to create 5 different documents. But then we're going to update. Update the document. Again, over here, you can just drag and drop the ID. We're not going to go to the AI agent, but we're going to use this split out module. Drag and drop this. You can see it's the different tweets. Execute step. Add another Airtable module here, which is update record. Select the base again. Content. Also going to remove all of them again. We're going to use only a few. ID. We are going to put this one from create a record. Put the ID. Next up, we are gonna add the description. So for the description, we can use directly like the same contents as in the file. Status, we're gonna update the status to in progress, or you can go directly to needs review. I'm gonna put in progress right now. We're gonna update the text URL and the folder URL. So you're just getting a bit too fast. Just make sure to pause the video so you actually update this as is. So text URL, we're going to put this one from the create a document. And on the other side for folder URL, just gonna paste it here. Just copy this exactly as is. Make sure that everything is named as I'm naming it, so you're not gonna get any errors. Project name is another thing. So this will be for organization, which after this, I'm going to show you how that looks. Project name, we're going to use go here, take project name, put project name in here so it can update it accordingly. And then finally, we're going to update the media type as tweet. I'm going to click execute. Let's go back to Airtable so you can check it over here. We're going to go to the to-do tab. Over here, you can see that there's the media type. So here's all the different tweets. The actual raw file stays in curated ideas, so you can reuse it for different actions. Here are all the different tweets. You can click here for the tweets. Of course, it really changes like what is the output. Right now, we literally just use the random test idea as an input. You will ideally use a transcript or like a voice note. Next up, I'm going to show you how to do the YouTube automation. We're going to do it with a transcript so you can see the outputs directly. I'm going to paste this transcript from a video that I have. Just put it over here. Make sure that the automation that we're building can execute the workflow. Click this, execute the workflow. Go back here, change the status to queued. You can see how that will essentially trigger these automations. First, it will initialize the content. There we go. And then so that is going to get initialized. Here it is in curated ideas, description. There's a project name, n8n YouTube content automation. Next up, as I said, we're going to do YouTube. So for YouTube specifically, we are going to add create an automation that creates a title and a description. So you can have your video immediately out there. Just going to select it here, go back to the automation, run it here. Or here we're going to check what is the number of the YouTube. So the number of YouTube is 8. Just gonna put here 8 expression. It's gonna copy paste the same one. Rename output, generate YouTube video content. There we go. Run. Put again get document. You can just essentially copy paste this one. Now, I'm going to do this one a bit differently, just so you see the different approaches you can have as well. I'm going to copy brand voice and target audience, put them here. These are going to run, so these are already connected. I'm going to pull the necessary things. And afterward, I'm going to add an OpenAI messenger module, add a system prompt, add a user prompt. It's going to here, which we're going to use 5 mini. Where is that one? There we go. Let's open this. Gonna copy paste the prompt over here. So you can also add variables, like in the community, it's all connected. In the Media Lab version, it's all connected. But you can also add variables so it automatically updates your information and it updates your contact details and everything. For the sake of this video, I am going to remove that. I'm just going to put the email at pod@optimism.show. Remove everything else. There we go. That is the system one, and we're going to put a user prompt as well over here. Let me just open the system up one more time. So here's the system one. Pause the video. You can copy paste it. The user one, on the other hand, just going to paste this here. The point of this being like it generates a YouTube description in the brand voice using the transcript and external formatting template. Right now we don't have the template plugged in, but eventually you can even plug in template here to format the description in a particular way. The transcript, I'm just going to put the transcript over here, get document 1. There we go. Run the module. That in turn will create the YouTube description. Gonna copy these modules and paste them again here, so you don't have to remake them. So depending on the size of the transcript, it can take some time for it to generate. Now, one thing to consider here is I would suggest using GPT-5 Mini, especially if you're using the API. GPT-5 works well. Sometimes it can be a bit slow due to the high demand. Depends when you're watching this, but GPT-5 Mini does the job for most of the things. So there we go. I'm going to create a record. So create the record document. I'm just going to put YouTube here, YouTube description, execute step. Over here in the update document, I'm just going to put the contents, execute step, update the record, same thing in the description. I'm going to put the content here. And I'm going to change the media type to YouTube description. I'm going to put it in need review since this is something that can just go. And that in turn, if you see it here, also as we created the different project, here's how the projects look like. It will create a YouTube description with a short summary, timestamps, and like your information as well. Next up, we are going to, so I'm going to add some YouTube titles. For titles, I'm going to use a basic LLM chain over here. Watch where I'm connecting it. I'm going to connect it right after the target audience. So whenever you run this automation from inside the system, it will run this first part. And then once it's finished with that, it will run the second part. The second part, I'm going to use the prompt, this one. So what it's going to do is it gives the role to the ChatGPT, to the AI, that it's a media producer. Your role is to convert long-form founder conversations into modular, trust-building, remixable media. A platform, YouTube, content-focused YouTube titles that spark curiosity and drive retention. This is what I was telling earlier, giving guidelines to the AI. Over here, we're just going to update this part here, audience, target audience. I'm going to put this, make sure to put it in this. So target audience, in our case, is about being curious about tech, work, or internet culture. You can update this accordingly for whatever you are using it for. Brand voice, gonna put the brand voice here. Video transcript, just gonna paste the raw transcript as well. We'll get the document. There we go. So here's how it looks. This looks very well for the AI, especially, so it can create a lot better output. When it comes to the output parser, we're going to use a different output parser for this one. So I'm just going to copy paste this one and give 13 title ideas. Run this. Now, next up, what I'm going to do as this is running is I'm going to add a code module. So you can go here, write code. And the code module is essentially something that will just clean up the titles a bit. And sometimes you might need this. That is why I'm saying it as well. So you can see here, because of the output parser, here's how here are the titles. Build a YouTube automation with n8n, the webhook trick no one uses for content ops, blah, blah, blah. You can also add self-improving feedback loops inside of the system that you're building. So it essentially tracks your content, what is performing the best, and then it improves gradually, which is something we're adding as well. I'm just going to paste the code here. Code, you can use ChatGPT to write a lot of your code if you know a specific function that it does. Right now, for the sake of this, the point is to just clean up the titles a bit. You can copy paste this one. Just going to run that real quick. And after that, copy paste these, put them here, put them like this. Create a record, execute, create a document. I'm just going to change this to YouTube titles, execute, update the document. Can update that with the code module. There we go. So it will look like this. Execute step. I'm just going to copy that so I can paste it here in the description. And this I'm going to update to YouTube titles, execute step, save. I'm going to go back to Airtable. You can see here are the titles. Here's the document of the titles as well. That is how you create the YouTube automation.
Right now, I'm going to create a LinkedIn automation. For the sake of this video, we're going to use the same one that we used for Twitter. I'm just going to copy it. You can go a lot more in depth on LinkedIn, and I would suggest you do so. Right, so it's going to use, as I said, the Twitter automation. I'm going to copy the entire one. Put it down here, go again into the Airtable. So LinkedIn is 5. Awesome. I'm gonna go and also run the automation so we have an input data with execute. All right, go back to the Airtable. Over here, I'm gonna go LinkedIn to trigger this now. There we go. And I'm going to add the same one here. Number is equal to 5. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add LinkedIn real quick, and from LinkedIn, like after LinkedIn, I'm also going to show you how to add like images so you can have a full content system. So I already have the prompts made, like the prompts you can use here. Let's put it like this, document content, execute step, and in the AI agent, the checker one, as that is executing, I'm gonna put this prompt here. So brand voice 2, I'm just gonna change this real quick. This goes to 2. Target audience is the one previously, and this is mapped out from the outputs of the previous module. Here's the prompt. Free to pause the video. Here's the other prompt of the previous module as well. Feel free to pause the video. This is a pretty decent LinkedIn post prompt. I'm gonna run that. Okay, there's an error. I forgot to edit the actual output parser. I'm gonna paste this output parser here. Run this again, and in the other one I'm also going to put the same output parser. Save that. Gonna wait that for a bit to execute. So this is LinkedIn. You can pretty much add as many content types as you want in this way. Just important to keep it clean, like add the ones that actually do make sense. So there's an error here, basic LLM chain 2, error in the naming. There we go. Just update these, run it, create a record. These are already mapped out, so you don't need to worry about that. Just gonna change this to LinkedIn post. Just put LinkedIn, honestly. Let's keep it like this. Run. Okay, we might have what is going on here. Output tweets. Okay, output. It's gonna put this output, execute. So there's 3 items. Run this, create the documents, split out 1. This should be, okay, I'm just gonna drag this, execute step. And over here again, I'm gonna add like LinkedIn post. Here I need to update the description, execute step, and there we go. Like if we go back to the Airtable, we can see the LinkedIn posts over here. And next one, I'm gonna show you how to add images as well. Over here, we added image social graphic. I'm gonna go back to this. Let's actually optimize it for the LinkedIn. So go social graphic, run that next. At some point, like you can add a bunch of platforms here. Like, of course, you have to check the prompts, but this gives you a structure to work with. So you can actually create your custom solution for your company. Let's add the image. So for the image, I'm gonna use a bit different automation. So, okay, so we go generate social graphic, Over here, I'm gonna add one more social graphic. There we go. And we're going to start also with the get document module. So I'm just gonna copy paste this one, connect, run this one by one. There we go. So first it's gonna be a document, then we are adding normal module. Here we go. Let's connect that. The prompt, we're just going to use one prompt here for the image, which essentially is going to be the user prompt. This is the prompt I'm going to use. So there's the colors for it to consider, the actual guidelines for the AI, like what kind of a role it has, the rules, etc., etc. So this is like you can customize this as much as you want, really. I'm using this one because like I like having graphics, especially on channels like LinkedIn. Looks pretty cool, I think. And it stands out as well, especially with its pretty straightforward graphics that just explain the concept. Here you can use like a generate an image. Just put the prompt here, generate an image that follows the following guidelines. I'm gonna paste the prompt here. You can choose the model, execute steps. That will probably take some time. There we go. See if we can view the image. So here's the image. Of course, you can, as I said, like you can customize the prompts, just see what works best for you. One thing that I suggest you do is to actually, first of all, upload the image. So use a drive, Google Drive, upload file module. It's gonna connect that. And you're gonna leave this as data. This is this name, file name. I am going to put the auto ID and leave the rest as is. So if we go back to the upload that folder though, actually we need to update the folder as well. This is the folder URL by URL. Here we go. Execute step, see if that showed up. So here, if we go into the folder, we can see the images here. Go back. Next up, I'm just gonna add a share file module that is drive. So you go share file, this one, and you can actually customize it as this. So there's by ID, role writer, type anyone. That's all you need to do here. And finally, we are going to add an Airtable module, an update one. We'll update record, that up, clean this, remove all columns. So we cannot use the create a record one. I'm gonna go to the core Airtable here, ID, paste it here. And I'm going to add image. Now, when adding an image, you have to format your link a bit differently. I suggest doing it like upload file. Okay, so upload file. Like actually you need to pass it on as an array so it works. And what else I would suggest you do is like update the status. So into needs reviews. Essentially, when you have a LinkedIn post created, you can have automatically to create an image. So once the image is created, it goes into needs review. And you might ask me like, okay, but why don't I just put that in one flow like this? You can just add on it, generate an image as well. I would suggest you don't do that simply because of it just makes the system a lot less flexible. It's much better to just have everything as a separate automation. There we go, that updated. If we go back to the content OS, we expand this. Which one was it? This one. So here's the image. There we go. The image will update here, goes into needs review. So you can also have it in the needs review tab, check them out. You can update the status here and go into approved. We're going to show you how to make all of this into a interface as well. So you don't necessarily have to use this tab. And that's it for the social graphics. So there's multiple ways. There's a bunch of different automations you can use in n8n, like to cut the images and add logos and similar to make everything branded, which I'm not gonna get into this video on. It's something that you get in the community as well, like the fully built system, like also has all of that integrated already. But this is good enough for most people that might just want to create an image that is relevant to the social media post. Just make sure to edit this prompt over here and find something that fits you. And that's it really on this side. All right, so next up, I'm going to show you how to crop video. We're just gonna add an automation to crop a video. The API we're gonna use is called Vizard.ai. That is Vizard.ai, and we're gonna use their API to actually crop the videos and have everything in place over here. What is going to essentially happen? So let me show you what is necessary for this. So you can go into Drive here. You need to upload the file into Drive and make sure it's shareable. Or you can also use a link from YouTube, which I'm going to use right now. So I'm going to go to Optimism Show, grab one of the shorter videos. I would still suggest you use an unedited episode simply because it just performs quite better, honestly. Share this. Okay, so just gonna paste this in the raw video URL. You can just put the link. Here's the YouTube link for sharing. And next up, I'm simply going to select crop video here. Now there's a few things that we might need to do here. So back in n8n, first of all, we need to add the number is equal to 7 crop video. Okay, for this, as I said, there's some things we need to add. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm gonna add an HTTP module. I'm honestly gonna add this particular HTTP module. Here you will input your API key, and essentially over here you will use this URL for Vizard, so you can connect it. And I'm gonna show you how the code will look like. You can customize it. You can check like Vizard's API documentation to see everything. So I'm gonna go back and go now to Vizard. I'm gonna grab the API key. I'm gonna do that off camera, but you can have it. You can have your API key over here. Where was it? API. So just grab it from here. I'm gonna do that off camera and gonna show you the rest. You're going to use this code. Prefer length. 1 is between 15 and 30 seconds, 2 is 30 to 60 seconds. Language you can leave as auto. It works on Spanish, Italian, and whatever. It works on quite a few languages, honestly. We've tried that. Over here, you're going to paste your template ID that you can find in Vizard here. Brand kit, brand templates, copy the template ID and paste it there. And I would suggest you leave this part video type as is. This will allow you to get content from different places. As I said, still, I would highly suggest you use Google Drive simply because it works by far the best with the raw file. And subtitle switch is adding the subtitles, headline, and auto B-rolls. You can leave that as one as well. If you don't want B-rolls, you can just remove this aspect. Just make sure that whatever you remove, the last line should not have a comma like this. Should be project name. I'm gonna leave project name, and I'm gonna just go, before sending this over, I'm gonna go quickly to Airtable into automations, and I'm going to add one more automation. I'm gonna show you right now. So I'm gonna add an automation so that will pull the videos back from Vizard when the automation is done. So I'm gonna put Vizard.ai webhook trigger. I'm gonna put when webhook received. So this webhook, which is you copy it and you're gonna go into Vizard. You're gonna go into count API and just update it in there. I'm gonna do that off camera. Once you have done that, I'm gonna go back to n8n, execute this step. You'll get a code 2000, which means it's successful. The link, the project ID, that there. All right. That will take some time simply because it needs to clip the video and like edit everything. If you see it in Vizard, you see it's processing over here. That's why I used a shorter video as well, just to show you. As the automation is running into Vizard, we'd like to put everything in, like to update the files accordingly. For that, I will add an update record of Airtable. I'm gonna configure it like this. So base, I'm gonna put fixed from list. So I'm gonna put the content OS. There we go. Content. It's gonna fetch all the columns. Remove that. For the ID, I'm gonna use this one. Drag and drop it there. And I'm going to go quickly back into Airtable because I forgot to add this field. And I'm going to add a text field that is clipped videos ID. Create field. Go back. Refresh. There it goes. For clipped videos ID, I would just put the project ID in here. Execute step. Okay. Check what is the problem. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Airtable. We need to make this into a number field. Remove this. 0 decimal places. Save. Go back here. Refresh again. Execute step now. There it goes. Save that. And now we're gonna wait like a bit so the videos can get clipped. Okay, so the automation is done. It's triggered this webhook. What we're going to add here is now, so search function, so it can actually assign the correct project name to the clips. We just had this, and we can check the clips as well. Add clipped videos ID is dynamic, and here we're gonna add project ID. There we go, test. So it will find the file. Here's the file that we initially used. We need this, so for the project name. Then, not gonna get into too much detail, but we're just gonna add this script. You can copy paste the exact script. Use this, add here HTML string for value, add find records, this one. Here, well, record ID. There it goes. Additionally, next up, we're gonna add a repeating group. Select input list body videos. So for each video that is received, it's going to create a record, so a new record that has the following fields. So we're gonna have the status, but status is gonna be needs review. Since the videos are pretty much edited, you can just check them out. Title is going to be directly from here. We'll go title. The video is going to be the video URL, this one. And there's a bunch of other things you can add as well. Right now, I'm just gonna add the basics to make this usable. And project name, output of the script, project name. There we go. Test step, run as configured, run test. Okay, now if we go back into, I'm gonna turn this on. We go back into data, nothing is added for some reason. Let's see. So everything is here. Why nothing is added is mostly because it's the first time we're running this. So we have to send it one more time to actually have the videos in there. So here it goes, like it will add it like this, like this. Like right now it added one simply because it's the first time running this. Usually it will add like 10 to 20 to 30 videos depending on the size of your input video. So there's like the B-rolls and everything. It's into need review. You can customize this as much as you want. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's how you connect the video editing as well. As I said, there's a bunch of other things you can do, but this, like for the bare minimum, for the basics, this will do for this particular video that we're doing. And next up, what we're going to do is we're going to move forward to building the interface. All right. So in Airtable, like the interfaces, I would say they're pretty powerful, especially if you're building internal apps. Like it helps quite a bit. So you don't have to use this table. You can go into interfaces. So there's two functions. You can build it with AI, which honestly is pretty good. But for this video, I'm going to build it from scratch. So build an interface. Let's choose this. Name your interface Content OS. Next, we are going to use go next, table content, finish. And there's quite some customizations you can do over here. So there's ways you can add new interfaces as well. Just gonna add one overview here. Let's put this next. For overview, I am going to use, so there you have gallery, Kanban, calendar, forms, dashboard, overview, finish. You can customize your actual interface quite a bit here. So add bookmarks from, for example, you can link to the other sides of your app. You can add a bunch of links here, other resources and stuff like that. For each interface, you can add subpages as well. One thing that I really like is that you can add a dashboard. See this? You can count how much content you have produced. Here's how it looks for the finished system. I'm not gonna build this full exact thing, but so this is what it looks like. There's a dashboard, like full on tracking and stuff. You can customize these each one by one. So you can filter by conditions and eventually just track whatever you want to track. You have the variables there as well. Like this is for the installation. We have the right now in the system, we have separated content ideation, content production, review and publishing, and archive. For this video, what I'm gonna do is just do this part here. So content. Some important things that I would suggest is like you allow edit records inline, so you can edit accordingly. You can change the sizes. Like you have the description. Or here you can add the title so we know which ones are there. Now to move these around, you have to select this side here. Go to fields and move it from here. Can be a bit frustrating because you can't just drag and drop here, but just so you know, have the status in there. Now, one interesting thing here is that you can click into records, you can allow, and over here, you can additionally customize how you want things to look like. Usually I hide the description. Sometimes it can be quite long. There's the raw video URL, media type, image. We can add video here as well. I would suggest treating each content piece the same. So you use the exact same thing for each content piece and you just drag and drop these around. The top one can be customized to like a title. And over here, you can choose for each part if you want it to be editable or not. So we're going to put this editable status. We're going to put it as queued, like editable as well, because you're going to want to change this. And you can customize which parts would you like your end user to be able to edit or not. And this is the power of the interfaces really, because over here, you can edit pretty much anything. So if I want, I can edit the media type, which can mess up some of the automations depending on how you structure them, which is also why like I would suggest you make an interface. I'm just going to change here to all content, or like we can go to do. The other thing you can add is multiple views. So there you go. There's one thing we're going to add, like to do general, and we can filter also by Twitter. Let's say here media type contains X. Well, actually, we put Twitter tweets. There you go. So there's the tweets. Go back, add one more here. Add YouTube, filter by, so media type contains YouTube. So you have the description and the YouTube stuff over here that you can check as well. Add one for clips, filter by media type. That is on this side. The other things I'd like to add is, first of all, I'm going to add one more list. Same again from content. I'm going to add like ideas here. And I'm going to filter by status is empty and initialized is 0. So over here you will have your ideas. As I said, like you can customize this, drag drop, whatever you want. Ideas, gonna add one more, finish, I can drop that here. I'm gonna name this curated ideas. So these are the ideas that you already chose to work with, and they are going to be filtered by status is queued and initialized is 1. So right here you have that. Just make sure to leave this on, like edit records inline. Add action here as well, so you can select an action straight from here. So it's curated ideas to do. I'm gonna add one more interface that is review and publishing. Do this next, record review next. Let me show you this. So it's this also allows you to really have an app that's usable on mobile. Actually, it's pretty good. Like the content OS that you get inside of Media Lab is also fully usable in mobile. So what we're gonna filter by is a status is needs review or status is approved. I'm gonna show you why we're doing this in a second. Or publish date is not empty. Next is should I know? Auto ID, status, title, publish date, video, buttons, project name, publish URL, and action. Next, finish. This is needs review. So over here you have the ones that need review. You can further filter by. Okay, so I'm just gonna duplicate this a second. Okay. How I like to have it structured is that first you have a needs review that essentially is not the ones that are published. And then can be this one, the ones that are approved. So what will happen is like, let's say you have a post, have something like this is finished. Just gonna change. We're just gonna add permissions, make this editable, confirm. And you can customize part by part which you want editable or not. So status, I'm just gonna update this to approved. This is gonna go into the other tab. And in the other tab, I'm not gonna get into the automation on how to publish. We have a separate, like we built an entirely separate app for that, that people that are part of Media Lab get access to. So you have pretty much unlimited publishing on all the different platforms. But for the sake of this and how you can organize it is you can also pick a date. When do you want it scheduled? And from there, once we can also filter like this, filter by publish date is empty. So this will go into another tab, duplicate, you can add published here. My bad, like let's do it a bit different. So delete, and I add a calendar. You can add a calendar view. Next, content, publish date, finish. And over here, you will see the content that is published as well. This edit records inline, allow. You can access all your content as well. You can connect publishing to the system as well. There is the action field that you can just add an action. You can publish it. Just add a publishing action. You can publish it. Connect it with either the same webhook or another webhook and just use that one. I'm gonna publish this one as an interface that will literally look like this. So you have the overview, you have the dashboard that you can customize, the ideas, curated ideas to do, which can be also like you can separate each platform by platform. So you can see whatever needs to be worked on over here. Then you have a separate one for needs review, where you can review the contents and schedule them, approve them, and eventually publish them.